Has this ever happened to you?
I'm thirsty.
Or this? Or this? Now introducing the boot. With one simple application, you can fix all your problems. Hey there YouTube, welcome to the Francis Micro Homestead. Today we're going to be talking about our chicken watering system. It's low maintenance because it gets its water from the rain. Keeps its water clean for the chickens to drink, and it keeps the water from freezing in the winter. Let's take a closer look. Our system has 4 key components: the water container, the water delivering system to the chickens, the elements to keep the water from freezing in the winter, and the rain collection. The water containment is in this 55-gallon drum. You can have it in a 55-gallon drum, you can have it in bigger if you wanted to, or you can even have it in smaller. We've had it in the past in a small drinking cooler, a camping cooler, which was great for in the winter because it gave it a little bit more insulation to keep it from freezing. But we found that this 55-gallon drum worked perfect for us. It is a dark color. You don't want to get any white or clear, as algae is prone to grow in lighter colors. The darker the better. If you get a white one, paint it, that's completely fine. You want to have dark so that the algae can't grow in it. At the bottom here, I actually put a spigot so that I can turn the water off so I can run maintenance. But you would want to have 3 openings for your watering system. You want one for the water to leave, you want one for the water to enter, and you also want one for any surplus. In the event that we get too much water and this fills up, we don't want it spilling over the top and pulling at the bottom. We can actually attach a garden hose here and run it off away from the coop. Now I did talk about algae growing in your rain barrel. The other thing that you want to make sure is the hose coming out of the rain barrel is also dark color. I put a 10 millimeter clear hose on this, thinking that it would be okay. It did get about 2 hours of sunlight every day, and that was just enough to be able to grow algae in these hoses. So what I have done on this side is I put a foam insulator around the hose to keep the sunlight out, and it does also help in the winter to keep it insulated. How the chickens get the water is it goes through the spigot, through a hose, and into a PVC setup. This PVC setup that we have is low maintenance and it's easy to build. The red nozzles here that we have for the chickens, they're poultry nipples, and it's the best one that we've used so far. We've used these ones and we've used the cup ones. The cup ones, they fill up with crud. The chickens like to fill it up and leave it, and there's a lot of waste to it. And in the winter, they do fill up and they freeze, and they need a lot of maintenance. And these ones, hardly any maintenance. They're very efficient. Chickens drink only what they need, and it doesn't freeze in the winter. How we keep the water from freezing is 2 elements. We have a water pump and we have a water heater. The water pump runs 24/7 during the cold season and just circulates that water. As long as the water is moving in your system, it won't freeze. You ever seen a river or a creek that's constantly flowing? You'll never see that river or creek ever freeze in the winter. Moving water doesn't freeze. The second component in this is a heater that we have specifically made for water feeders. They heat the water enough that it won't freeze while still maintaining a low enough heat that it doesn't melt the container that it's in. How this system works is it's all gravity fed. As long as the water inside the barrel is higher than the watering nipples where the chickens drink, they will get their water. Rain collection was pretty easy on this. All I had to do was just go to the big box store and buy the gutters and a big enough PVC pipe and bring it down. The rain gutters are low enough that I can reach in and clean out any debris and anything that's in there. Any smaller debris or anything I I left in the rain gutter will get picked up by this strainer. For us, this old kitchen strainer was about the same size as the opening, so it worked perfectly for us. All we had to do is take it out, hit it a couple times, clean it out, and put it right back in, and it's good to go. Now let's talk about how I built this one. How I have it is I have this brass coupler that comes out of the spigot that goes into a 10mm hose. This flexible hose is perfect for when I need to make adjustments on the rain barrel or make any movements. It's not fixed. I can actually move that hose around without causing any damage. This 10mm hose then goes into a brass coupler that comes with the pump. It's a 12-volt water pump. It is screwing into a 1/2-inch female PVC coupler that then ties into the rest of the system. From there, at the end, it is a 1/2-inch male threaded fitting that then goes into another brass coupler that then goes into another 10mm hose that runs up and feeds into the rain barrel. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about the pump and the heater. So to winterize your chicken coop watering system, what you'll need is 2 essential things. You'll need your pump that will circulate the water through the system, keeping it moving, keeping it from freezing. And then 2, you will need a heater that will heat up your water without melting the container that it's in. This one here, it is rated so that it keeps the water above freezing while staying cool enough that it doesn't melt the plastic. The outer housing here keeps it from getting too hot and melting the container. We used this all year last year and it worked perfect. With these 2 key features of your system, you shouldn't have any problems with your water freezing. The extension cord that I ran out there, I have this 3-prong here just because I needed space for all of the power to go in. So on one side I have the thermometer, and on the other side I have the pump power supply. This does come with a power supply that you can detach. What I do in the summertime, in the warmer time, is I unplug it, take this inside, put it somewhere safe where I can find it again, and then I just stick this up into the hardware cloth, out of the dirt, out of the water, out of the way. It just stays just fine. Chickens don't care for it either, and they don't mess with it. So this actually sits on the system all year round, which is perfectly fine. Water will flow through it even when there's no power on. This device right here is our thermometer. What it does is anytime the temperature goes below freezing, it kicks on, allowing power to go through, powering whatever device is plugged into it. What we're using it for this case is for the heater. The combination of the pump and the heater keeps the water from freezing. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually putting in a temporary housing for my electrical. Next year I will be running electrical out to the coop, and I'll have a conduit and a proper electrical box here. But in the meantime, this has worked for us in the past, and it'll work for us this year as well. But it keeps the snow and water out from the electrical while maintaining its core temperature. And of course, you want to protect this from the weather, make sure that no water gets into it, while keeping this exposed to the cool air. You want to make sure that it's not boxed up in a place that it can warm up and give you a false positive, and don't kick on when it hits below freezing. An issue with that is this box might get a little bit warm because it's running current through it, warming this side up. Given this a false positive, this might be registering 40, 50 degrees, while outside it's 20 or 30. So during the winter, I will have the pump running 24/7 and have the heater hooked up to this device that will kick on every time the temperature reaches below freezing. once a day, what I usually do is I open up my back door and I listen for that water to trickle. And if that water's trickling, I know my pump is working. And that's how we have our system. Chickens, they obviously aren't complaining about it, and they enjoy being able to get on-demand water whenever they need it. And I love the fact that I don't have to worry about it all season long. We're pretty happy with it. And I hope that you were able to learn something new and be able to use what you've learned in your own system at home. If you have any questions, feel free to give a comment. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like it and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks again. We appreciate it.